Welcome to JSM Online. If you're new here to this channel, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification so you can get updated every time we upload a brand new video. So we are less than a week away from Easter Sunday, and we're going to be doing something a little bit different this time for this series. We're going to try and do a 5-day series on Easter leading up to Easter Sunday. So as we get closer to Easter, I think it's important that we look back at some of the things Jesus did and some of the things that Jesus said. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be looking at the miracles of Jesus. Let's get started. Before we get into this series on miracles, I want to ask you this question. Have you ever seen something happen that seemed miraculous? Maybe it was something you couldn't believe happened. Maybe it was something that had no chance at all of happening. We see this a lot in sports. I'm a big sports fan. I like watching basketball, football, really almost anything that's on. There's some sports I can't stand to watch, and I won't say those if you are fans of those. But there are many times in sports where we see that there are the underdogs or the Cinderella stories where there's like no chance of anything can happen. This team for sure can't win. We see this a lot in March Madness, and due to everything going on, obviously, we didn't get to watch a tournament this year. But in March Madness, there's typically, lower seeds that upset the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed and so on and so forth. We see that happen a lot. In 2016 in the NBA Finals, we saw the unthinkable happen. LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers mounted a giant comeback over the Golden State Warriors. They were down in the series 3-1, and you have to win 7 games, and they overcame that 3-1 deficit. And this Golden State team was unlike any team we've ever seen. This was a team that won the regular season 73 wins and 9 losses. So out of 82 games, they won 73. And this Cleveland Cavaliers team wasn't the greatest. Obviously, they had LeBron, who is a pretty good player in my opinion. But they had some of these other guys that seem like underdogs or seem like Cinderella stories. Guys that are just overshadowed. But there are also many instances in the Bible where we see miracles happen. If you remember in Genesis, God had this worldwide flood happen because he was sick and tired of the way that people were treating each other, the way they were treating him. And so he decided to wipe out the earth. But he left one family, Noah and his family, and they repopulated the world, and everything, so everyone thought, was going to be good again. We also see in the story of David and Goliath, this tiny shepherd boy who has no chance against this 9-foot-tall giant. But he kills him with a sling and a stone. It's a miracle. We also see in the story of Daniel where 3 men are thrown into a fiery furnace. This was a hot furnace. When they threw them in, the people that were throwing these guys in even got burnt up. But as they look inside, these guys are walking around like it's nothing. And they see this godlike figure, who I think is Jesus, walking around with them. Later in the story of Daniel, we also see Daniel being thrown into the lion's den. It's another miracle. And then we get to the New Testament, and we look at the miracles of Jesus. If you've got a Bible, turn to Mark chapter 1 and start at verse 21 and follow along with me there, and it'll be on the screen as well. Mark 1, verse 21 through 28 says, Jesus and his companions went to the town of Capernaum. When the Sabbath day came, he went into the synagogue and began to teach. The people were amazed at his teaching, for he taught with real authority, quite unlike the teachers of religious law. Suddenly, a man in the synagogue who was possessed by an evil spirit cried out, "Why are you interfering with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." But Jesus reprimanded him. "Be quiet. Come out of the man," he ordered. At that, the evil spirit screamed, threw the man into a convulsion, and then came out of him. Amazement gripped the audience, and they began to discuss what had happened. "What sort of new teaching is this?" they asked excitedly. "It has such authority. Even evil spirits obey his orders." The news about Jesus spread quickly throughout the entire region of Galilee. So Jesus is teaching, and this man comes up to him. He's a demon-possessed man, and he starts shouting at God. And I want you to notice something here. These demons know that Jesus is Lord. That's something big. We fight an enemy every day, and his name is Satan. He's the fallen one. And he tries to tempt us every day into rebelling against God. And these demons are of Satan. And these demons know that Jesus has the ultimate authority and the ultimate power. Now that's something to think about. And notice something else here. All Jesus had to do to get these demons out of this man was simply speak. So this miracle shows that Jesus is the ultimate authority. He spoke it into existence and it became. And as the text says, the people around him were amazed because they had never seen a teacher like this that actually had authority and then backed it up. And the same Jesus that is talking here to this man and teaching to these people is the same one that we worship today. He has the ultimate power, he has the ultimate authority, and all we have to do is submit our lives to him. Mark 1, verses 35 through 38 says, "Before daybreak the next morning, Jesus got up and went out to an isolated place to pray. Later, Simon and the others went out to find him. When they found him, they said, 'Everyone's looking for you.' But Jesus replied, 'We must go on to other towns as well, and I will preach to them too. That is why I came.'" So Jesus was the talk of the town. He had these amazing teachings and amazing miracles, and it spread like wildfire across the biblical towns. So Jesus' teachings and his miracles spread like wildfire. Everyone was hearing about it, and he soon became the talk of the town. So the whole town of Capernaum shows up, and they're wanting him to heal all of their sickness, all of their disease, cast out demons and other people. And Jesus does that. He does that for these people. But I can imagine it was such a long day for these people waiting in line and for Jesus as well. And if you'll notice in the text we just read, Jesus goes off alone to pray. Now, why is that important? You know, Jesus is the Son of God. Why does he have to pray? The Son of God consistently made time to pray alone with God. Jesus knew this was just the beginning. He knew that there would be more people. He knew that there would be more skepticals. He knew what was about to come later in his life. So to stay the course and to resist temptation and to keep doing all these miraculous things, Jesus needed time with God. So he went alone to pray with him. Mark 1, verses 39 through 42 says, "So he traveled throughout the region of Galilee, preaching in the synagogues and casting out demons. A man with leprosy came and knelt in front of Jesus, begging to be healed. 'If you are willing, you can heal me and make me clean,' he said. Moved with compassion, Jesus reached out and touched him. 'I am willing,' he said. 'Be healed.' Instantly, the leprosy disappeared and the man was healed." So here we see the big word is compassion. This is a word that Jesus drives in his ministry, and he tells us to do the same with other people. But I want you to know here, this was a big, big deal back in biblical times. So the law of Moses, this was a big deal in biblical times. A man with leprosy was considered unclean. So rabbis and priests and Pharisees saw that it was not necessary to touch people like them or perform healings or anything like that. But Jesus doesn't care about that. He wanted to heal this man because he had compassion for him. And the compassion he had for this man sums up the story of the gospel. God reaching down to heal a broken people because they desperately need Jesus. And something else to notice here is Jesus didn't heal this man first and then proceed to touch him. He touched him first. The Son of God bent low and placed his hands on the diseased man's body. Now, for a leper, if he's had it all of his life, this may have been the first time he had ever been touched, or if he got it when he was younger, this was the first time he had been touched by a person in years. So by doing this, Jesus violated the law to keep a distance from others. But he also showed compassion, and he showed what his kingdom is all about. He showed that love and compassion are over rules and laws and religion. And the same is with us. Jesus didn't keep us at arm's length. He bent low. He knelt down to us. He placed his hands on us. He became one of us in this sinful world. And eventually that led to him at a death on a cross for our sins. So here's my final thought for you today. From the very beginning of Jesus' earthly ministry, the people recognized that he was different because of his power and authority. Jesus' miracles prove that he is the Son of God, and also revealed his love and compassion for the people that he came to save. So as we approach Easter weekend, as we approach Good Friday and Resurrection Sunday, I want you to think about Jesus' power and authority that he has, and submit your life to it. So that's going to be it for today's video. Leave a comment down below with any takeaways that you had from this video, or if there's anything we need to pray for you about. Also, if you haven't yet, be sure to like the video, be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we will catch you guys in the next video.